All right. You're all welcome to this session tonight. So tonight, we're going to talk about branding and design. All right, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So we're going to be very brief, and if time permits us, we're going to as well do some little practicals. All right, we're going to as well do some little practicals so that you have some practical feel of what branding and design is all about. All right, so we're going to start very, very, very urgently, and then we're going to rush through the the lectures for tonight. All right, so okay, so we're just going to begin straight. So as you can see on your screen, this is branding and design. Then we're going to that's mastering branding and design. So these are the outline. This is the outline. These are the topics that we're going to be looking at very, very short. We're going to be looking at what branding is and what branding and design is. We're going to have an understanding of what brand identity is. We also going to look at we are going to look at design fundamentals. All right, we're going to look at design fundamentals. We are also going to look at creating visual assets. What's that all about? Branding strategy, digital branding, tools and resources, and then the second aspect of the training is going to be on the practical section that we'll be having for the practical section. All right, so let's dive straight into what we have for tonight. So, what actually is branding? All right. So, when we talk about branding, branding is actually what you are known for. All right, branding is what you're known for. So, if you're just joining, you're welcome. All right, you're welcome. So just sit tight. You can also increase the volume to 200% if you're live currently. You can increase the volume to 200% so you could hear me very well. All right. So branding is what you are known for. That is what your brand is. All right. So on the slide, I explained that branding is actually a personality or the personality of a company or products. All right. It's what sets you apart. It's what you're known for, what makes you memorable to the customers. All right, if you're a designer, you sell clothes, you build houses, you do this, you do that. What you do or what you're known for, what people know you for, is what branding is all about. All right, so in this section we'll be exposing ourselves to the key principles of branding. All right, so we're going to talk about consistency, authenticity. I will talk about how you can appeal your your audience. All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. All right, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So the next slide, we're going to just next slide straight, and we're going to look at the importance of branding. Why is branding important? I beg your pardon. Why is design important in branding? All right, the importance of design in branding, because when you talk about branding, um, design actually play a very key role. All right, in branding. So design is the visual language of your brand. Okay, so I'm talking about branding, what you're known for, what you do, the things people know you to do or know you for. All right. So if people know you as a speaker, all right, your your brand is not different from that. All right. So you need to give it a unique visual language, all right, or a unique um, visual representation, and that is where design comes in. All right. So it is how you communicate your message and your values to the world, all right, through visual means, what people can see. Okay, that is what design is all about. It can be online or offline. All right, so that's what design is. Effective design not only catches the eye, but also what create lasting impression and build trust with your audience. All right, from logos to typography, to colors to imagery, every element of design, every element plays a part in shaping your brand's identity and perception. Okay, so design is actually very important when it comes to branding. Okay, it is something you can't do without. Okay, because that is apart from branding being that people know you for this, know you for that. Design plays a key role. All right, in making your brand stand out, in giving visual identity. When someone sees your product, sees what you do, sees what you give out, they easily identify because of that uniqueness you've created around what you do. All right, so that visual uniqueness of visual language is very important, and that is where design comes in. All right, so what is brand identity? Okay, like I've told you, we're going to be very fast, very sharp. We're not going to take our time, all right, because this is actually straightforward. All right, so design is important. I've said that already. Your brand is what you're known for, what you do. All right, what sets you apart. All right, that's what your brand is. All right, so now brand identity is actually, we have actually spoken about it. All right, but we are going to give it expression here more. Brand identity is the visual and verbal expression of your brand's essence and values. All right, it actually encompasses everything. All right, um, that we've been talking about. Okay, so from the name of the brand, all right, your brand cannot be nameless. All right, your name can actually be your brand. All right, so you can brand your name. All right, so maybe if you're a speaker, you're a comedian. All right, your name can be your brand. Okay, all right, and what people know you for. All right, okay, maybe comedy. Okay, all right, you can also have a logo to that effect. All right, you can have particular colors. For example, if you look at Sabinus, all right, I believe so many of you should know Sabinus. Sabinus might not be his, that's his brand's name actually. All right, it might not be his original name. All right, what of Brain Jotter? All of them are comedians. Now you could see that they have a particular shirt they wear whenever they want to perform, almost all the time, or let me say more than 50% of the time. You'll see that they have a particular. Sabinus is known for blue, while Brain Jotter is known for green, one green shirt like that. All right. So there was a time he said, "I'm normal until I wear this shirt." All right, that's his brand. Um, that's branding as well. All right, that's identity. Okay, this is you are giving your brand an identity now. All right, that's when design you can't do without design here. In fact, yes, that's just it. Making your brand stand out in particular ways, the name, the color, the logo, everything there is giving your brand identity. All right, even how you communicate. Okay, the kind of things you dish out, how you package what you dish out is part of brand identity. That's why whenever you see a product of Google outside, you will see that it has a uniqueness. There are color combinations, their logo, the way of presentation, everything is is structured, all right, in a very unique and particular way. And that's going to tell you that this is from this particular brand. All right. So brand identity is very important because it gives helps your audience to trust you. All right. It gives an impression of professionalism. It also helps, like I've said, helps the audience, your audience to trust you. All right. So that's one of the things that brand identity does. So, giving an identity to your brand is what brand identity is simply. All right. So, defining brand identity involves clearly articulating what the brand stands for and how it wants to be perceived by its target audience. Okay. So that is that for that. So the elements of brand identity, like I've said, you've mentioned them already. Logo, which is okay, the symbol of your brand. We have colors, specific colors. You have to choose specific colors for your brand. Okay. All right. We have typography. Typography is the usage of fonts All right, for me, my brand is actually Chris Graphics. I'm a UI UX designer, as well a creative designer actually also. All right, so Chris Graphics, I use blue and red. So most of my designs recently, you will see my designs blue and red, ash, blue and red and ash. Right. So these are the colors I combine together in my design. And my brand's typography, which is text, the text I use Flash Display. All right. So in all of my designs, that's what you're going to see. That is the designs that are for me, for my brand. That's what you're going to see. So, and I have a logo. So I have a brand identity. Okay. In most of my videos recently, if you're going to see me, you'll see me on a particular shirt. My pictures, you see a particular shirt. That particular shirt. And when I want to make a video, I make sure I wear that shirt too. All right. To create, that's going to give consistency. All right. It's that's what brand identity. You don't use those colors today, you change tomorrow. You don't have an identity. So you maintain your identity or the identity of a brand once you have chosen them. All right. And I won't go about the process of choosing them, how you're going to do that. Okay. Right. Because as you're going to choose colors actually evoke emotions and they're associated with different, um, key features. Okay. And even as well, typography also does that. Okay. And then the type of images you use, illustrations, and all of that, they are going to be dependent on where, on the category of brand fall under. All right, so these are the elements, some of the elements that brand and identity um, encompasses. Okay, we've talked about them already, and we're going to talk about design fundamentals. Okay, so because we're talking about, I believe you should know what brand is. You should know that design is actually very key in branding. All right, it's one of the greatest elements. You can see all the elements there in brand identity for you to make your brand stand out. You can never, you can never do without, you can never do without design. So design is at the heart of brand identity. So I believe you should know what brand identity is, and by now you should know the elements of brand identity. So now we are going to look at now, because we're talking about branding and design. So now we have come to the aspects of design. All right, I believe you're following. I think I would need to check us. I believe you're following because I could uh, cite some of us online. Yes, you're welcome, Stephen. You're welcome. You're welcome, Stephen. You're welcome, Isaac, as well. All right, so we are now going to talk about design itself. Okay, so now when we come to design, I know that maybe some of us, because I know there's a designer actually right now on the live session. Okay, I know some of us might have had knowledge of what design is all about. Okay, because that is actually the reason why this is combined, and I love the combination is because it is branding and design, not just branding. Okay, you might know what branding is, uh, and you don't know what design is, you might be disadvantaged, or because yes, you might be disadvantaged because design is at the heart of branding, at the heart, very heart of it. Okay, you can't do without visual communication, and it's very important when it comes to branding. So we are coming to design fundamentals. We're going to talk about the fundamentals of design. All right, it's just all about knowing the fundamental principles that guide effective visual communication. All right, so that's what we're going to look at. Okay, for those that have knowledge on what graphic design is, all right, and the principles, kudos is just an advantage. All right, so if you don't, yes, there's an opportunity for you to get an idea now, and then to further um, jump in to get more information about that. Understanding this principle is essential for creating designs that are visually appealing, functional, and impactful. All right, so we're going to look at some of these key principles in the next slide. All right, so we have fundamental principles of graphic design. Graphic design is what is a visual representation, visual communication, that we've talked about. So now, when you are communicating visually, all right, you don't just actually leave whatever you're going to put out for people to see just anyhow. All right. So now there is actually a way that design elements. All right. So just like the way we have brand identity elements, which are typography, colors, logo, brand's name, and stuff like that, and brand's colors. You also have design elements. So when you are now bringing all these brand identity um, elements, which are spoken about color, spoken about typography. These are also some of those are also design, you know, elements. Okay, so when you are putting those design elements together to communicate something to the audience, you don't put them anyhow. Okay, so we're talking about balance and alignment. We're talking about how you can position this element to be appealing, for these elements to be appealing to the sight of the audience. All right. So balancing is ensuring that there's equilibrium. All right. So they're actually different stuffs. I can discuss balance for 1 hour. All right. So we might not go into that deeply. Okay. And then alignment is also, arrange the arrangement of your element and the positioning. All right. Relation to one another in a way that creates sense and order. All right. And coherence. Okay, alignment helps to create visual unity and makes design easier to comprehend. All right, so you don't put elements anyhow, like I've said. If you do that, when you're trying to put up maybe a design, put up something, a visual representation that will actually represent your brand. Okay, because that is what it's going to do, and also communicate something to the audience. You don't put them anyhow if not, you're going to cause confusion, and that's going to be disastrous to your brand. That's why every brand needs good designs. Every brand needs good visual representation. And then you can't represent those things visually correctly if you don't understand the principles that guide graphic design. All right, because graphic design is actually the visual representation of whatever you're trying to communicate. Okay, contrast. Contrast is actually is I can use visibility. All right. So the reason why you can see my screen and what is written on the white background is because there is high contrast. All right. Contrast is actually difference. It could be difference in color, it could be difference in size, it could be difference in whatever. When there's a difference, then there's contrast. Okay, that's what it is. That's actually the direct um, definition of what contrast is. Okay, so there's difference in the color of the text from the color of the background. That is why you can see the text itself. All right, so there's a difference. That's why you can see the text itself. Okay, so whenever you're creating design or creating something to communicate something, to communicate a message, to send a message to your audience, and it's going to be visually represented, it has to have contrast. For most of the elements have to have contrast, especially stuff like text and several other stuff. All right, there has to be contrast for them to be able to read what you are talking about. Imagine this text is white, you won't see anything here, but there'll be text, but you won't see anything. All right, so that's what contrast is. There are several elements: hierarchy, positioning. Now hierarchy talks about keeping the elements that are of high importance, high priority, making them unique. All right, that could be in terms of size, that could be in terms of color, that could be in terms of many other stuff. All right, organizing elements is designed to establish clear order of importance. You can see, all right, and guide viewers' eyes through the content. Hierarchy helps to communicate the relative significance of different elements and facilitates effective storytelling. All right, that's what hierarchy is all about. So this is just to give you an idea of what they are, and then we are going to I'm going to encourage you, all right, to go deeper into knowing what they really are. So I'm just trying to tell you that knowing the principles of design is going to guide you when you are talking about your brand, talking about when you are creating visuals for your brand. Yeah, but I think that's a better expression. And repetition is actually the consistent usage of visual elements. Okay, you use the colors repeatedly, use the shapes repeatedly, use the patterns and stuff like that. That's what repetition is, and it's actually very important when it comes to design. Okay, I don't create a button. Okay, for example, a website, create a button, a very large button here. Next one is 15 buttons are different size. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so these are some of the principles of design, and I believe as you are going to go deeper, you're going to understand them better. Proportion is actually the spacings between the elements of the design. So remember, we've moved from branding, we're talking about design currently, and that's why we just went into discussing the elements of graphic design. Okay, so when you master those elements, did I say the elements? The principles, rather, the principles of graphic design. So when you master those principles, you are now going to know how to design. All right, so we're going to practicalize what design is and some of the principles that we've talked about. We'll practicalize them in the next session. Okay, creating visual assets. All right, you need to have visual assets for your brand. All right, that are going to represent your brand, the brand that you have, all right, or what your brand is, all right. So when creating visual assets that will represent your brand, when visual assets that will represent your brand are to be created, there is need for professionalism and a masterpiece because it's going to speak for your brand on behalf on your behalf on many occasions. All right, so you can see what I wrote down here. This requires that a competent person handles it, or if you have design skills um, that you have to develop, or if you have design skills that you have developed over time. Yeah, if you have developed design skills over time, you can also handle that aspect for your brand as well. Yes, for me myself, for me, I do my designs myself, right? So that's because I've been a designer for many years. All right, I'm doing UI. If I want to do create if I want to create my website, I will design it myself. Okay, I'm going to design my website myself because I'm a UI designer. I understand what the principle of design talks about. I know what design is, so I'll do it myself. Now, if I don't have that skill to do it myself, I'll have to employ or give it to someone that can do it better than myself because what I'm going to give out is something that is going to speak for my brand, something that is going to represent my brand, it's going to tell a story about my brand. So I wouldn't give out what is not of a high quality, what's not professional. All right. So you should look for something that should represent your brand excellently. That's why you can see. Um, I have to say that because your visual assets actually tell people the kind of brand you are. All right. Yes, the, it just represents your brand. Okay, so your visual assets should be good. All right. There's a good news if you don't know how to design. If you've developed any skill in graphic design, or you have skill already and you want to improve it. All right. So um, there's a good news for you. All right. And the reason why I say it's a good news is because this is actually going to save you a lot of stress. All right. For me, I designed flyers for 15,000. Okay, 15,000 for one flyer. So for some of my stuff, there was one course I ran. I had to do thumbnail, more than 60 thumbnail, and I did them myself. Imagine multiplying. Imagine if I'm doing this for you for 10,000 only. All right, thumbnails, 10,000 times 60. That's going to be about um is that 60,000? That's going to be about 600K. Imagine I've just saved that cost. I'll just save that cost. So it's going to save you a lot of cost on the long run. All right. In fact, mine was on a very short run. It was not a long run. All right. Just in a matter of few weeks, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. All right. I did that. Okay. So now with your smartphone, even if you don't have a laptop, you don't need to worry. All right. With your smartphone, this course here is going to show you a lot of things about how you're going to do um, designs with your phone. All right. So um, It will guide you from the very beginning to the end. So all the principles we've talked about there, you are going to see them being applied practically and being explained as well practically. Okay, we're going to try to do a little of that in the second session um, of this, you know, this this seminar. All right, call it seminar training. Okay, well, this course is going to help you a lot. All right. Alternatively, you can also subscribe or upgrade for the super plan on the Skill Money. All right, Skill Money platform. Okay. If you're registered already, that's fine for you. If you're not registered, you can use this link to do that. If you have not registered, I don't know whether those that are not registered will be on this platform, or if you have not registered, um, if you have not registered, if you have not registered, you can do well to use this link. All right. So you might see it drop. I might drop them, both of them, on this channel. All right. So either I will drop it or um, Mr. Edwin will do that for you, so you could register for any of them. Okay. So we're going to talk about talk about brand strategy. All right. So you need to have strategy for your brand. Okay. We are talking about branding now. So we are wrapping it up, and you are supposed to have brand strategy. Brand strategy actually involves clarifying brand's mission, vision, values, and unique selling points. All right. That is what brand strategy is all about. It also entails identifying the brand's target audience, understanding their needs, preferences, and behavior, and determining how the brand will fulfill those needs in a way that differentiates it from the competitors. You have to be unique in your own approach and in your delivery. All right, so that is what brand strategy is all about. It's very important. The second thing in brand strategy is brand positioning. I believe you can hear me very well. Is brand positioning. Brand positioning refers to the specific space a brand occupies in the minds of the customer relative to the competitors. All right. So your uniqueness is actually going to make that happen. All right. So that is that. That is just um, the very I don't know, the very summary, yes, of what strategizing around your brand is all about. And then your target audience identification will touch that a little. All right, identifying your target audience. This is actually very critical. If you're selling something that male, males should use, and you go to female world to market, you are not going to get you are most likely not going to get sales. Why? Because where you took your products to is not where your audience are. All right. So identifying your audience is critical in branding. And then the last one we're talking about here is market research. All right. Don't just jump into stuff. You need to study. You need to study thorough market research. It's very important to be able to, you know, um, make reasonable advances when it comes to you know what you do, which is your brand. Okay, so market research is very very important, very very important. Okay, so for example, as a designer, I look out for people that are interested in. Okay, because I'm a tutor too. I'm a digital creator. I'm a tutor. I create videos. I create courses. Right. So I look for people that are interested in learning graphic design. I look for business owners because people that have business need design. They need visual presentation. You know, these are the people I look for. Okay. Right. So these are that's just the whole thing we are talking about here. So you can go through the video and go through the video again. All right, you can pause at some point and read through the material. All right. If Mr. Edwin allows, um, I will share this piece with you as well. All right. That is if he allows. So I'm going to talk to him on that. So if he allows, we are going to get this this slide so that you can go through it more carefully. All right, so we are talking about now digital branding. Okay, I spoke earlier that branding can be digital or physical. All right, so what is going to be in digitally is not really going to be different from in terms of maybe the color, the logo. It's not as though it's going to be different from what you're going to see physically. All right, so we're talking about digital branding because we're actually in a digital world currently. So we have website design. All right, so that's digital. So you have to brand your, if that is if necessary, which I think is, depending on the size of your brand and what you do, you need to get a website. You get all right. So you brand your websites with the same colors you are using all across your visual assets, whether online or offline. All right. Then we have social media branding. All right. So if the slide gets to you, you can read more about them. All right. We have social media branding is actually also digital, branding of yeah. So it's a digital branding, social media branding. Okay. So those are going to contain the things you do on social media: optimization, content, strategy, posting of content, and community engagement and stuff like that. And those are also still going to carry your brand identity, the colors, the manner of communication. You're still going to maintain it while you are tailoring it to your audience as well. Okay. So we also have email marketing. All right, email marketing also has some forms of designs as well. You can see some brands will send emails to you. You see how their um, their email is structured. That's actually a design. Then their manner of communication is also part of branding. Okay. And then what are the tools that are used for design? You can use Canva, which is actually a very versatile platform, available both on smartphone and laptop. All right. It's actually simple to use. Templates, already made templates, images, design elements, all are there for you to use. And the course I was actually introducing you to has a section that is dedicated to Canva, that teaches you how to use Canva, how to use templates, how to create designs from scratch, everything you need to know. Even with your smartphone, you can do that. With your laptop, you can do that as well. We have Corridor. Corridor is for those that have laptop, not high-road mobile devices. But the thing is, Corridor is usually for those that have laptop, as well as Photoshop. Photoshop is also for those that have. Pixel Lab is a mobile application. It's a mobile application that you can use for your graphics, images, 3D text, whatever you want to do, typography, and many things. You want to write something. So social media graphics good for social media graphics, just like Canva, and also you can use vector graphics, vector graphic platforms like CorelDRAW if you have a laptop and you know how to do that. If you don't know how to do that, there's also a course available to teach you how to use CorelDRAW. There's a course available to teach you how to use Canva, course available to teach you um, how to use Pixel app, and then CapCut. CapCut is actually a video editing app. All right, so in your branding, there are moments you'll need, some form of video, some form of animated content, and CapCut is a very good um, tool to use when it comes to stuff like that. You can use that in your smartphone as well as your laptop. There are also videos available on Ilfan YouTube channel on how to use uh, CapCut. I think I saw one of the videos, recent videos that was made on CapCut. You can check that for yourself if it's if I'm not mistaken. If it's on the YouTube channel, because I saw it on, I think, on Facebook. All right, then the Inkscape is also a platform. This the last one. There's a graphic platform like Canva that allows you uh, to do designs as well. All right, so these are some of the platforms. Some of them are free, some are paid. Um, all of them are free actually, or you can subscribe for pro versions if you think you need to. Okay. Okay, so these are the tools I've outlined. So we are going to put our hands on practicals and get some designs done. Don't forget to take the necessary courses to enhance your design skills. Even if you have you know how to do designs already. I was in design for years. I was taking courses. Even currently, I'm still taking courses, and I'll still take courses even on design. I get so um, that's going to is going to make you stand out. It's going to give you confidence. It's going to help your design skills to it's going to hone your design skills when you begin to get courses, all right, to improve yourself. All right, you are not getting courses to learn afresh, it is to improve. So some of the things they'll be saying, you might know them, but there are definitely things that you are going to encounter that you wouldn't have known if you have not gotten those new courses. So if you have already, you can do well to get the courses for yourself, and they are going to really help you. Let me see um, if I still have some persons here. All right. Thank you for staying with me till this time. So we are going to go into practical in the next session of this training. All right. That's branding and design. Thank you for staying. So if this slide is going to be sent across to you, then you are going to do well to go through it again, because there are actually many things that we haven't spoken about and that are that might be important. But the major things are the things I've spoken about for you to take note of. Um, so the next one is going to be the practical section, where I'm going to take you through Canva and show you one or two things that you need to know there, and that's where we're going to wrap up this particular episode of the training. Thank you for staying with me. I'm not sure I introduced myself very well when I started. So my name is Egbe Christian. I believe you can see it up there. And it's Egbe Christian, and I'm I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. I'm an ambassador of Christ. I'm a UI UX designer, a tutor, digital creator, among other things. I'm an animal scientist as well. All right. So I really do a lot of things. Okay, so all right, so let's cut it off for this session to get on into the practical session. Thank you for staying with me, and I really do appreciate your presence. Bye for now. Um, all right.